Act 4-1. This is Campus Grinder. This is one of my favourite firefights in the entire series. This is a massive courtyard filled with incredibly threatening enemy. There is a sniper that can kill you almost immediately and you don't even know he's got a rifle. There are boomers going to turn up. There are torque bows everywhere. There are shotguns everywhere. It's just a wonderful encounter. And Act 4 is also one of the most... It's just some of the most fun and immaculate Gears design ever showcased. It's my favourite act in the game by a large margin. And almost all of the fights have a skillful way to assert dominance, and I love that. If you know this chapter well enough, you can wreck shop, and that's what Gears is all about. It's about tactics, it's about aggression, it's about chest-high walls and men with necks as wide as my leg. It's just vintage Gears right here. Be very careful of this twat as well with his shotgun. Not a nice man. And he can one-shot you from here, so be very careful. He's got that magic Nasher. But that is the Theron. Yeah, Chris, I'm glad I saw him. Jesus. Oh, people wondering too, you can extend the FOV on this game. You can use the tilde key to go into the engine, and you can use the console to change it. But the problem is, it's awesome to have a better FOV because you can see a lot more and it makes the game look kind of weird. But when you use the sniper rifle, it breaks the zoom. So because this walkthrough has the long shot for nearly all of it, I couldn't do it, because it completely makes the zoom vision the same as the aim vision, which completely neutralizes the point, right? But right then, did you hear that noise? There's a very iconic noise just then. That signifies that two boomers are going to spawn, and then behind the boomers, there's a couple of guys in houses with assault rifles, so focus on the boomer with his nice flitting boom shot. Notice every time you shoot him, you knock his gun down, and it's a weird animation of it resetting. That always looks janky. You see, this is why I don't like this gun, by the way. I really do not like the Boltok. Ooh, nice grenade. Do not fear using torque bow here either. There are so many refills for the torque bow that I can show you. You'll be perfectly fine. Like directly across from me on the opposite side where they're fighting, there's a bunch of staircases with doors. In there is a torque bow just by itself. There were 2 torque Therons in this courtyard that you can grab their torque bows from. Like, there's so many ways to get your torque ammo back, so don't worry. That is a boom shot, by the way. Yep, there he was. So whenever you see a boomer, never ever stay in cover. In this game, the boom shot fires sufficiently slow enough that you can dodge it on sight. You can't really do that in the later games. I really like the boomers in this game. They're very fair, and they're very dangerous. But that's the end of the battle, even though the music's still going a bit nuts. And now we can go around and pick up the spoils of war. So make sure to do it as much as you can. There is the long shot over here that I'm going to be picking up. The long shot is such a cool weapon, but it takes a lot of time to get used to it. And I'm going to be getting rid of the boom shot because the torque bow now is going to replace the boom shot for all my strategies. It's kind of the same weapon, only the torque bow is way more reliable and a lot more powerful. This guy also has a torque bow, so if you didn't have one, you can get one off him. And you can chainsaw him if you want to, but I don't have a Lancer, so alas, we've got to get creative. I chose the left path here, which is the high ground. And I did that because I like the left paths in video games for some reason. It's just one of these weird things I do. It's because of Vampire Hunter D. It's just a strange thing about my personality. Whenever there is a choice, I always pick left. I'm right-handed, if you're wondering, so it's not even anything like that, but this is an interesting sequence here because a lot of Theron guards, a lot of shotgun guys, and your team is fighting them. And did you see just then? A Theron guard bounced like a flaccid torque round into this room and it fizzled next to me. That shit can kill you too. That's how good they are with that gun. It's really stupid. They do all kinds of nonsensical bank shots that just shouldn't be possible, but they're the computer, so they just understand it. And there's a lot of wretches in this area, but they're normal, so just punch them. Alabama man them and get on with your life. There's also a Cedar that's going to fire Nemesis coming up, and the Nemesis will kill you instantly. Dude, I love the fact that the Boltok kills wretches instantly with the hipfire. I think that's perfect design. I think it should do it when you aim as well, but the fact it does it when you don't aim is wonderful. And you might think, well, maybe, Chris, it's if you're hitting them in the torso and not in the, like hitting them in the head/chest instead of their arms or their legs, but I was hitting those dudes in their heads. and they still were climbing towards me, so there's some kind of weird property. Oh, and I do not recommend what I'm about. Oh, watch this. See him move the instant I shot, so it dodged? Did you see that? The second, the frame, the exact moment the trigger pulled, he fucking turned. And they always do that, guys. That's what Aiden calls the locust head bob. If you've ever heard us talk about the locust head bob from Gears 1, you just saw it. The moment you go to get a headshot, they duck. They do like anything they can to get out of it. And that's what they do. It's as if they're watching your screen. It's straight up, old school, N64 split screen watching garbage. And it's hilarious. And I'm so glad I got it just then, so that you could see it. Because that shot was red. Everything about that was a hit. And then the moment I go to do it, he just goes, whoop, wow, and just ducks it. He's an absolute genius. But here's the Cedar. This is a really safe position to hit him from. Once you've cleared out the wretches, you don't have to worry because there are no more until the next spawn. So you notice every time I do a full charge, I always double check to make sure the next spawn hasn't happened. But you should be able to react. Now he's dead. There's going to be the spawn on the ground here. So seal the emergence soul immediately with the hammer. And then the wretches just spawn. Do you hear him screaming? The wretch is screaming for Chris. Come on now. There he is. I nearly said Phil. He's screaming, Phil. God, can you imagine Phil playing Gears of War back in the day? I bet it was glorious. To give you an idea, guys, Darkside Phil got stuck on the tutorial at the beginning of Gears of War 2 because he didn't understand where to go. It was amazing. But here is a nice snipper. We can get it back now. We don't need the Hammer of Dawn. And then there's another fight coming up, so we can do some more damage, hopefully. Here's a wretch getting punched. Here's another wretch getting punched as well. And then across from us there's a sniper. So we can do a nice sniper war. He's wearing the Vin Diesel goggles, the Riddick goggles, and he's dead. And then downstairs is going to be another guy across from us. A guy behind that cover just there that I'm looking at. And then there's going to be a wretch spawn from the ravine in the street. But if you stand next to the ravine, you can punch the wretches as they spawn. And you can kill all three of them without too much trouble. However, I'd forgotten about this particular spawn coming up and it surprised me a little bit. But I was able to make it work, so it wasn't a problem. But this chapter is so good, dude. All of the fights are quintessential Gears. It's got the chest-high walls, it's got the urban decay, it's got just immaculate encounters that are interesting, it's got the music pumping, it's got the invincible bushes you can't shoot through. There's a down. Could have curb stomped him if he wasn't with his buddy. Oh, another thing as well you might be wondering. So I am using mouse and keyboard, which gives me a level of aiming that can be quite high when I use it correctly. But you might notice that there are a bunch of times where I let the aimer stand and let the enemies walk into it. The reason I do that, guys, is because of how much experience I've got with Gears. It's like a programming thing. On Gears of War, the Locust and the enemy and player models, they all keep their head at the same amount, the same height, regardless of where they move. So if you know what that universal height is, you can hold your aimer just in front of them and they will walk into it and it's a free headshot every time. I learnt it in the multiplayer from playing a lot of multiplayer. It's the same with rolling. If you learn when people are coming in and out of rolls, you can hit them in the head just by where their head will always be. And it's one of those reliable things you can learn that is very powerful. And I haven't played multiplayer Gears for a long time, so I'm kind of rusty on a lot of it. But there are times when I would rather lead a target with a rifle and wait for them to go into it than actually aiming at them. And it's not because I'm not capable of aiming at them, and it's not because, you know, the mouse isn't good enough. It is good enough. It's just when I play Gears, that's how my brain does it. So if you ever see that, that's why. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.